another function. Look at this. F of x equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. If you know how the graph of this quadratic function looks, it'll be a curve, curving up. Is that right? Okay, so this is your f of x. We start with the f of x. What is the next step? Find f of x plus delta x. Replace your x by x plus delta x. That means the input is now greater. So replace your x by x plus delta x. That will be 2 times x plus delta x all squared plus 5 times x plus delta x minus 3. Can you simplify this? How do you simplify this? X plus delta x all squared. That will be x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared. That's how you expand. A plus b all squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So x plus delta x all squared is x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared, and multiply that by 2, you get these 3 terms. So that will be 2x squared plus 4x delta x plus 2 delta x squared. These 3 terms come by expanding this and multiplying by 2. And distribute this plus 5x plus 5 delta x minus 3. This is f of x plus delta x. We now need to find f of x plus delta x minus f of x. Find a change in the function value. So what is f of x plus delta x minus f of x? F of x plus delta x is this whole quantity. Minus f of x is this quantity. Let's write that. So that will be, this is f of x plus delta x. Then subtract f of x. That's your f of x. And what will happen now? Well, distribute this negative sign. I have distributed that. Minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. And now simplify. If you notice, 2x squared minus 2x squared will go. Plus 5x minus 5x will go. Minus 3 plus 3 will go. You are left with 4x delta x plus 2 delta x all squared plus 5 delta x. And this is the change in the function value. Now, here if you notice delta x is common, we can factor that out. So that will be delta x times 4x plus 2 delta x plus 5. This is the change in the function value. Now, what's the next step? We find the average rate of change. Divide the change in the function value by the change in the input. So here, f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x is this quantity divided by delta x. And the delta x and the delta x will cancel. That will give you 4x plus 2 delta x plus 5. Now, what is this quantity? What do you call this? It is a change in the function value divided by the change in the input is the average rate of change. Now, when does the average rate of change becomes the instantaneous rate of change? When does delta x become very close to 0? In other words, we take the limiting value of this quantity when delta x approaches 0. So limit delta x approaches 0, the delta y by delta x. You can see the limiting value of this when delta x approaches 0 is obtained by replacing delta x by 0. So this term goes. So the limiting value of this is 4x plus 5. And what do you call this quantity? The limiting value of delta y by delta x when delta x approaches 0 is called dy by dx, or the derivative of the function, which we call f prime x. So f prime x is 4x plus 5. If f of x is 2x squared plus 5x minus 3, f prime of x is 4x plus 5. If you can remember this, I will ask you this in the next class. Alright. We talked about this as the derivative is the slope of the tangent line, didn't we? So derivative of a function is the instantaneous rate of change, which is the slope of the tangent line at a given instant. And this is the function we have been finding the derivative of. If f of x equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 3, what is the derivative we just found? What is f prime x? F prime x is 4x plus 5. That's right. Now what is the meaning of f prime of negative 1? What is the instantaneous rate of change when x equal to negative 1? Now remember, the rate of change will be different at different points. As you move from point to point, the rate of change will be different. So what is the rate of change? What is the instantaneous rate of change at the instant when x equal to negative 1? Replace your x by negative 1, and that will give you 1. So at the instant when x equal to negative 1, the derivative is 4 times negative 1 plus 5. And look at this. This is the graph of 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. And here, this is x equal to negative 1. And f prime of negative 1 equal to 1 means the slope of the tangent line at that instant. Look at that slope. The slope of this tangent line is 1. So the slope of the tangent line at x equal to negative 1 is 1, means the instantaneous rate of change at this point is 1. It means at that instant when x changes by 1 unit, y will also change by 1 unit. When the input changes by 1 unit, the output will change by 1 unit as well. At that instant. But if you move to another instant, the rate of change will be different. Alright, how about this? F prime of 0.5. What is f prime of 0.5? In f prime x, replace x by 0.5. That will give me 4 times 0.5 plus 5 equal to 7. So if you come to x equal to 0.5 will be, this is x equal to 1. So x equal to 0.5 is this. There you are. This is x equal to 0.5, and I have drawn the tangent line there, and the slope of that tangent line is 7. Now look at that. The calculator gave you the equation of the line y equal to 7x minus 3.5. What does that 7 represent? It is the slope of that tangent line. So the derivative of this function at x equal to negative 1 is 1, means the slope of the tangent line drawn at that point at x equal to negative 1 is 1. The derivative of the function at x equal to 0.5 is 7, means the slope of the tangent line drawn at x equal to 0.5 is 7. Now that means when x changes by 1 unit here, y will change by 7 units. You can see the rate of change has dramatically changed when you move from point to point. Alright. Let's now find the derivative of square root of x using the same principle we used in the previous one. Alright, so f of x equal to square root of x. Next we find f of x plus delta x. F of x plus delta x is square root of x plus delta x. What is f of x plus delta x minus f of x? Well, this is f of x plus delta x minus this is your f of x. And now the change in the function divided by change in the input. This is the average rate of change. Average rate of change is, this is the change in the function, and the change in the input will be delta x. Alright, so delta y by delta x. This is the change in the y value, or the change in the output value, or change in the function value, anything that you want to use there. So delta y by delta x is the average rate of change. Now, can you simplify this? In order to simplify, see what I have done, just like what we did in the previous class. I multiply the numerator and denominator by the quantity square root x plus delta x plus square root of x. Both numerator and denominator. Why did we do that? Again, this is of the form a minus b times a plus b. What is a minus b times a plus b? It is a squared minus b squared. So what does this become the numerator? It will be a squared, the square of this will be x plus delta x, minus b squared is square of this quantity minus x. Now look at the way the numerator simplified dramatically there. The denominator remains the same. And on the numerator, x and negative x cancels, and delta x will cancel. And the result is 1 over square root x plus delta x plus square root of x. And what is this quantity again? It is f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x. The delta y divided by delta x. Change in the function value divided by the change in the input. This is the average rate of change in this interval here. When does the average rate of change become the instantaneous rate of change? When the delta x approaches 0. So f prime of x is the limiting value when delta x approaches 0 of this quantity. And how do you get that? To find the limiting value when delta x approaches 0, set that delta x equal to 0. So that one will go. The denominator will then become square root x plus square root x. That is 1 over 2 square root of x. That means the derivative of square root of x with respect to x is 1 over 2 square root of x. I want you to remember that also. In fact, we found the derivative of 2 functions, well 3 actually, but I want you to remember the derivative expressions of this. The derivative of f of x equal to square root of x is f prime of x is 1 over 2 square